Good morning. This is old Magnus Boona. First thing I want you to do is haul off and smack that subscribe button for me. Today we're going to talk about some breakfast potatoes, or in the rural area I come from, we call these home fries. We've got some good old russet potatoes. These are either from Washington or Idaho, not sure which, but fairly local to me. And what we're going to do to prep these is we're going to cut them up and then we're going to parboil them. We're not going to cook them all the way, but we're going to boil them, and what that will do is then later when we fry them, either pan fried, sauteed in butter, or immersion fried, deep fried in peanut oil, they will crisp up really nice. I love a nice crispy potato. And so let's get after it. Here I've got some water. We're going to put some heat on it to get it boiling. I could just boil these potatoes in salted water, that would work, but I'm going to spice up the water a bit to make it more tasty. So I've got the equivalent of about 2 bay leaves here. That is a tablespoon of salt. I've got a teaspoon of cumin. And then I've got a teaspoon of smoked Hungarian paprika and 1/2 teaspoon of ground chipotle pepper. That's one of my favorite spices. I put it in everything. We're going to bring this up to a boil and let it simmer for about 10 minutes to extract all those flavors. That'll make these potatoes more yummy. While we're waiting on that water to come to a boil, I'm going to prep this potato. I like to use this paring knife when I do it. I'm looking to cut this into 1-inch cubes. So I'll start by putting it on end and I'll eyeball. It looks like if I make 3 cuts, this will be about 1 inch thick. So we'll go across it. Then we'll go across it again. That might only be 3/4 of an inch. It's just you pick a good size and you work with it. Once we do that, we're going to eyeball some more. Boom. Looks like about 2 more slices. Cut it up into as even size as we can. Then we got some cold water here. We'll just put the potatoes in there to rest. This will keep them from turning brown and getting nasty and oxidized. And we'll just keep working. 2 slices, and then eyeball in cubes. I like to leave the skins on. My dad always told me there's a lot of vitamins in the skins of potatoes. I don't know if he actually knows what the hell he's talking about. Probably doesn't, but we'll leave them on. Makes life easy. Just like that. I got 4 more potatoes to prep. I'm using 4 of these mid-sized baking potatoes that you find at any grocery store. Alright, you can see I'm set up to cook here. Just outside of the camera I've got the potatoes sitting in water, getting ready to go into the pot. I'll have to do this in about 2 batches because all the potatoes won't fit in that water. Over here I've got my cooling area set up. These potatoes are going to get deep fried, so we don't want a bunch of water on the surface because that'll make the deep frying much more exciting than it needs to be. Likewise, if I'm just cooking them in butter in a skillet on the stove top, you don't want the water there either because it'll just splatter and could be a little dangerous. And yeah, so there's that. I'm going to turn up this heat while I add these because it's going to cool down. These are going to get boiled for about, ooh, that's hot. I think I'll use this tool and make this easier on myself. These are going to get boiled for about 4 to 5 minutes. And I lied to you. I'm not doing this in batches. These are all going to fit in here. I'm pretty happy about that. There we go. Now we're not making a mess like an idiot. Alright. And what you couldn't see while I was cutting up these potatoes and that came up on a boil, I put a little drizzle of oil in there. I always do that. It breaks up the surface tension and helps prevent boilovers. You really don't need to stir this all that much, but you know, it's in front of me, so why wouldn't I stir it? Stirring's fun. It makes me feel like I'm doing something. We're going to boil these for about 4 to 5 minutes, or until they're about 90% cooked through. We'll use this knife here to test them. As you can see, we're not anywhere there yet. We'll stir these periodically just to make sure nothing found its way to the bottom and got stuck there and started burning. That'd be bad. When I do this, I like to prep a lot of potatoes at once. Then I'll cool them, let them dry, and I'll actually put them in freezer bags and put them in the freezer so I can use them, you know, later, because I'm not going to eat all these potatoes at once. Alright, these have been cooking for about 4 minutes. As you can see, we're cooked, but not quite completely. We're going to get these out of here. We don't want to overcook them. I just turned off the heat, and I'll start scooping them out on this dish. I've got a wire rack, not a dish. A wire rack sitting on top of a pan for these to all dry on. Alright, we got those all out of there. We're going to spread them out here as much as we can, so that they'll dry as much as possible. I'll reiterate, you do not want to deep fry anything that's wet. It'll get scary in a hurry. I actually had a fire in my kitchen once when I was deep frying. Actually, a situation similar to this. I got a little ambitious and put too much oil in my deep fryer, and my potatoes were wet, and all that steam came out of the off the potatoes, created a lot of bubbles in the deep fryer, and actually went over the top. It caught on fire right there on my stove top. I just moved into my house. I was 24. I just bought the thing, and I thought for a second, oh my god, you dumbass, you're about to burn down your goddamn house. Out in the garage, I had a fire extinguisher. I got that thing off the wall, put that fire out before it turned into anything serious, and learned a good lesson that day. So hopefully you can learn a lesson from my story of being a dumbass, and you won't have to be one yourself. But you don't want a fire in your kitchen. Alright, now I'm going to get set up to deep fry these. Typically, I'd be making these for breakfast, and I'd be baking off some bacon, and I'd also fry some eggs, and I'd have the whole thing. But this morning I'm by myself, and I'm just doing this video, so I'm actually going to just eat these with some aioli as a snack. But I wanted to show you how to do this. This is my deep fryer setup. It's this candy thermometer or deep fry thermometer. It's clipped to this pot. I'll fill this about half full with oil, no more, because I don't want it to go over the top. Then as I pull things out, I'll let them cool on this rack. It'll let any oil drain off. Now, deep frying has this stigmatism. People think, oh, it's so unhealthy. Well, I'm not a cardiologist, but I can tell you I'm going to fry these in peanut oil. And the lipid profile of peanut oil, it's considered to be a heart-healthy oil, low saturated fat. Do some Googling and read up on peanut oil. Macadamia nut oil has the same lipid profile. It's actually better for you than olive oil. And we're going to have this hot enough there's not going to be a lot of absorption. So you're not eating a ton of oil in this. So, you know, talk to your cardiologist for diet advice, but I'm telling you, this ain't that bad. Now we're going to deep fry these at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I've got my cooling rack set up here, and I got my deep fryer here. And pretty soon we'll be at 350. We'll drop these in. We'll fry them for about, I don't know, 4 to 6 minutes until they're golden brown and crunchy. Once they're golden brown and crunchy, we'll know it's time to take them out. Alright, our thermometer is telling us this is just about, it's exactly 350, so we're going to drop these in here. We will utilize our dial back there to control the temperature while we're frying. When you're deep frying, it's important to have your oil temperature correct. That prevents it from absorbing into the food. You don't want greasy food, you want crunchy food. When we're all done, I'll set up a strainer with a paper towel, and I'll filter this oil through the paper towel, and then I'll store it in the refrigerator, and I'll reuse it multiple times. Typically, if I'm planning on doing some deep frying, I pull it out of the refrigerator, you know, a day ahead of time or whatever, so that it turns back to liquid and it's not all gooey, because it'll be hard to get out of the jug. If it's 40 degrees, it'll be pretty thick. When you fry potatoes, it's important that they're crispy. You don't want them limp and greasy. Having your temperature correct and pre-cooking the potatoes in the boiling water, seasoned boiling water, is key to making them crispy. You're not going to please anybody with a limp potato. Alright, look at those beautiful potatoes. Those things are done and they're ready to come out. There it is. See, now those are still wet from the frying. We'll want to salt them immediately so that that salt sticks to them. There we go. Potatoes need a lot of salt. It's just the rule. I don't know why that is. I mixed up some aioli to dip these in. Well, maybe that's not correct, calling it aioli. It's ketchup, mayonnaise, and some spices. Can you hear that sound? That's not edited or enhanced. Those are crispy. Alright, now that we got these plated up, let's go ahead and taste one. Oh. You hear that? You hear that crunch? Oh. That is what a potato should be like. Oh my god. Look at that yummy golden potato. There we go. Oh. It's so crunchy. This is so good. Oh. Look at that. Those are beautiful. Alright. That's what we're looking for. Hey, I'm gonna go eat the rest of that, but go ahead and share this with your friends. I'll put the recipe on my blog, and you'll find a link for that down below. I've got some coffee. I'm going to eat those potatoes. Normally I'd have them with bacon and eggs, but I'm just doing this morning to demonstrate for you, so I'm just going to eat them like French fries. These are so tasty.